just going to call her Mara. But Xiamara the Kyrie Warrior. Revna's Rebuke. Kyrie Warriors. Mara is not the strongest of Uller's followers. She's not the swiftest. Is this supposed to be something that is supposed to encourage me to use? You're not the best, you know. You're not good at this, you're not good at this, you're not good at this, you know. But at least we can think positively.
We have a strong will, and we have each other. Ugh.
How pathetic. And how cliche.
I'm sorry. She's not the swiftest or the most clever. It is her bravery that has never been questioned. That doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me.
We're all gonna die.
And her loyalty that stands out among her battle siblings. Bravery and loyalty, yes, I think are very essential. But those other things are essential too. Okay. As other forces fall into disarray without his leadership. Interesting. Okay, now I know we're going to hear Vidar is kind of out of the picture too, but apparently Uller is out of the picture as well. You know, I'm getting Tales of Valhalla vibes here, to where, you know, all the, how would I put it, all the Valkyrie generals are, you know, have disappeared in my storyline. I see a lot of that in this a little bit. Dan, hey Dan, how you doing tonight? Says Dan, you're really bad at everything, but you're brave, I guess. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, wait, what? You know. Anyway, okay. Many assorted commanders rise to guide the segments of his army. Mara's amulet proves she is worthy of trust, and her boldness in the face of danger rallies the brewing aggressors among the forest Kyrie. She is willing to do what it takes to preserve her tribe's lands, including expanding their borders should neighboring tribes prove unworthy allies. Okay, I mean, now I'll say this much: the sculpt is lovely. It's I really like it. Just the wings and everything. That's how a Kyrie should look like. But let's look at this. Okay, 80 points. All right. Kyrie, unique hero, warrior, noble. Medium 5. Hey, Team Ski, how you doing tonight? Is this a way to phase out legacy units thematically? Ends up being a soft reboot? Team Ski, you know, I hope, because, I mean, you could say the same thing about what I'm doing in Tales of Valhalla, too, because in my fanfiction storyline, the Kyrie generals are kind of out of business, or the Valkyrie generals are kind of like out of business, or you just don't know what's going on with them. I just find it's just very similar. So I don't know. Phasing out, well, but to phase out legacy units thematically at Team Ski, I mean, the generals were never like units or miniatures. So does it mean to phase out like old classic Heroscape? That's going to be a tall order. I mean, Renegade's really got to give it. I mean, look, if this was Renegade's plan to phase out and just say no more classic, even though they are including classic and D&D into their tournaments currently, which is great. But if it is their plan to phase stuff out, I think that I wouldn't really go full force with that if I were to do that until like a good 3 to 5 years, until you have established as much miniatures in the new Heroscape as there is in the classic. That, if they do it any sooner, it'd be a little premature. And Dan Antonio says, I don't know if you can from a gameplay perspective. Raylan is just so good. You don't know from what? Yeah. From a gameplay perspective, exactly. If we're talking about lore, if we're just talking about lore, again, I mean, even the lore is very important to Heroscape, even though it is kind of like, it's like trying to nail Jello to the wall sometimes. But yeah, it could be phasing out the lore. See here, and Teamski says they introduced a new general, which surprised me when you had Valkyrie just a couple of units. Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm a little sore with Valkyrie too, but there is, I mean, kind of legal reasons why they couldn't proceed with Valkyrie, because Valkyrie was a D&D Wizards of the Coast thing, and whether they had the rights or not for that, it's always legalese when it comes to those things. Doesn't mean we can't do our own custom Valkyries. So, but I mean, I really like Revna so far. Revna just seems like some like villainous type creature or type villainous type Kyrie that from I think it's a her, from her perspective, she's doing a good thing. She's the hero, but not everybody sees it that way. And that's one thing you got to approach with storytelling as well. When it comes to these, I mean, anytime you're writing a story, whether it's a screenplay, book, or whatever, and if it's fiction, you have to understand that 100% of the time your characters are approaching whatever worldview they have from everything being about them. It's almost like a narcissistic perspective, but because on some level we're all narcissists. Just some are more than others. You know what I'm saying. So the whole world's got to revolve around you, or your whole perspective has got to revolve around you. It's easier to understand what that character might be thinking or feeling because they have their own perspective, even if it's wrong. They have their own perspective of good and evil, and what they want their ends to achieve to be. Anyway, I got into a more rant there for a second here. Let me go back into the let's see here. Let's see Mara here. I just didn't call her Mara for short. Move of 5, range of 1, attack of 3, defense of 3. Okay. So just got flying, not stealth flying, just flying. Like I said, I love the sculpt. This is really nice artwork too. Okay, Amulet of Pivatar. When a Kyrie you control who follows Uller within 6 clear sight spaces of Xiamara the Kyrie Warrior receives 1 or more wounds, you may roll the 20-sided die. If you roll an 8 to 16, ignore all but 1 wound just received. If you roll a 17 or higher, ignore all wounds just received. Okay, but it doesn't affect Mara herself. The only issue, like I said, it just depends on what type of other minis we can do, and I'm not great at remembering synergies between all realms of Heroscape, Classic, C through V, whatever. But I do know one thing. I would never count on, or I would never like in tournament play at least, to rely on a 20-sided die roll. You're in shaky ground when you usually do that. I mean, for fun, yeah. I mean, for fun, and maybe for a more scenario type, this could be fun. But tournament, you'd have to have a good certain synergy and really have some type of buff to help that 20-sided die be better. So yeah, that's looking at Mara. Like I said, nice sculpt. I'll have to see how she plays in the future.